Hey everybody, welcome back to the Breaking Bad Insider Podcast. I'm here with a bunch of guests today. We're going to talk about episode number 412. This episode is called End Times, right? End Times?
End Times, is that what we agreed on?
I like it.
Sold.
So I'm here with Vince Gilligan.
Hello.
I'm here with producer Diane Mercer, who handles post.
Hi.
I'm here with co-executive producer Melissa Bernstein.
Hello.
I'm here with actor Aaron Paul, who plays Jesse.
Hi.
Dave Porter, who is our composer.
Hello.
And last but certainly not least, the co-writer of this episode, Tom Schnauz. I gotta know, Vince, how many takes was it that you had to do to make that gun twirl around on that table like that so perfectly?
About 4 takes. I don't know, honest to God.
No, I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
I know. You're setting me up here, but yeah. Yeah.
Can you explain the visual effect there? I mean, we played it as one.
Yeah, I'm gonna start it, and then Diane's gonna take it from there.
All right, cool.
I said in the first production meeting, how are we gonna deal with this spinning gun? Because I want it all in one take.
Right.
I don't want to have to keep cutting to different angles just to sell this. I want one take where at least 2 out of 3 times. Actually, yeah. I want it all in a one shot where twice in a row he spins the gun and winds up pointing right at him, like the universe is telling him to kill himself.
Right.
So I said, how do we do this? And Werner and his guys figured out this rig. It was a piece of clear lucite dowel that went down through a hole they drilled in the tabletop, and it went to this pulley. And around the pulley was some fish line, and it went 8 feet away to another pulley, where one of Werner's guys was crouching down out of frame, so that the gun would spin on this piece of dowel, and the pulley around the other end of the dowel would control this. You could grab the pulley after Walt gave it a spin and slow the rotation from 8 feet away using this pulley, with your fingers. And they practiced it, and on the day it worked like a charm. And then Diane erased the dowel.
Yes, I did it all myself.
Well, we'll talk about that. Yeah.
No, well, obviously, we kind of, I think actually Melissa sent me an email during production, we weren't expecting, but we've got this rig, and you can see it, and we're going to have to deal with that later. So, by the time, when the picture locks, then we take a look at it and see kind of how bad it is.
And actually, the gentleman who actually did the erasing.
Bill Pulaski, who did our wonderful, he's our wonderful visual effects supervisor. I sent him these 2 shots, and I basically said, help. And what he had to do was go in and kind of digitally replace where you could see the rig through the top of the table, because it's a glass table, obviously. So you can see like the metal supports for the table, and then next to it you could see the plastic, and then, or the lucite, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So they had to go in and basically, the first shot was much easier. The first shot, because it was kind of one angle, just looking at Walt, they just go in, correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, but they kind of just cover over what was there with other pieces of what's next to it, like you would in Photoshop if you're, cleaning up somebody's face in Photoshop, pimples or something like that. It's the same basic idea. But then the second shot, where the camera actually pans over and it ends up pointing somewhere else, that had lighting change and shadows and arm, reaching over and camera move and a whole kind of mess of problems. So that ended up being a CG table underneath. It was removed and replaced with digital elements.
The funny thing is that so many people have seen the shot with the rig in there and have not even noticed it.
And never even noticed.
Yeah.
I know.
That's awesome.
And it even if you don't notice that there's something there, on some subliminal level, you do.
Yeah.
And when it's gone, the shot just works.
We should talk about the part where Jesse realizes that the rice and cigarette is gone.
And that was like 2 a.m. in front of a hospital, and
2
in the morning.
Yeah, it was
probably pretty late.
Yeah, that was a late night.
Oh yeah, it was late.
Wow.
They were all late.
And then, and then you've got the shot where Aaron runs back into the hospital, telling Andrea, what's going on.
Yeah.
I think it's rice and sounds like rice.
Yeah, and that was one shot, right?
Yes, you and Emily Rios just pulled that off great. And our camera operator, Andy Vogley,
Oh yeah.
shot that handheld, not with a Steadicam, but ran around with his big-ass, heavy Airflex 35mm motion picture camera, running around take after take. I think we did like 9 takes of that. So all you guys were exhausted, especially I think Andy carrying this 40-pound camera around.
Yeah.
And but that was all a wonder. Although you did an interesting thing with the editing that I liked.
I started busting it up.
Yeah.
It's just kind of interesting because you run through the door, like through these doors, and we kind of cut to a different take at the same point. So it just looks a little bit different.
It's a little jittery.
It kind of throws you a little bit. I thought it was interesting just because, it kind of throws an audience just a little off. But then once you grab Angela and come out, then it's just one shot, to go in the round and stuff. And Tom, when when you guys were going to break this story, how did that, how did it all go down as far as trying to end, basically the end of the season? How did... what was discussed? Can you give us any little hints, or without giving anything away? Or
I don't remember anything. It was so long ago.
I know. That's true.
Bells.
Look how short that act 3 is.
I know. I have to say I am most proud of writing that particular act because the scene, the big, grand, epic scene between Walt and Jesse is 2 cards.
I tell you, it was the hardest day of directing I've ever had, and the whole day long, I was like, this is just not working. And looking back on it, I'm like, what was I freaking out about? This scene is fantastic. You guys crush it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And again, we're recording this podcast as usual. You haven't seen the episode.
Truly.
Yeah, you crush that scene, and as does Brian. You guys are fantastic.
I mean, I can't even imagine what it's like to be at that sort of heightened level of emotion for multiple takes. I mean, I don't even know. How did you do it all day long?
Well, and we actually shot the first half of the scene first. And remember the scene where Walt is just, he's like, do you even understand what is happening? Yeah. Like, you don't even get this. And he's freaking out. And then he just places the gun on the couch, and then we shot the rest. We just did a bunch of different versions. And we committed to one version, and we shot the hell out of it, really. And then it just wasn't flowing the way that we wanted it to flow, and then we just kept playing with it. And I feel by the end of the, I mean, I haven't seen the scene, but I feel that
you can confidently say it's great. It is a great scene, and you guys really, again, all credit to you guys, because if it had been 2 lesser actors with a director who didn't know what the hell he was doing, it would have been.
You're gonna shit, motherfucker.
Now that the plan is basically fully underway, and Jesse, is basically the guy who's gonna lure. He's luring Gus. Walt has told him to lure Gus, and Walt is at the same time putting a bomb under Gus's car. How does Gus know? How does he know?
I guess Gus is. Gus just knows. Gus is Darth Vader.
He is the chess player, and he's trying to figure out what he knows. Walt is after him, and he's trying to figure out Walt's next move. And he starts, before he makes the fatal mistake of getting in that car, he starts putting pieces together.
Just something doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
But I will leave it at this. I would think that Gus is the smartest guy we've ever seen on this show, including, and that's saying a lot, that's including Walt himself.
And something just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I mean, this guy didn't survive this long in this very cutthroat business without having a real intelligence and a real street savvy and a real sixth sense, a spider sense here.
I hate to do it, but we have to break. Thank you everybody for coming. I'm so sorry, but this was a fantastic episode. I know everybody.
Sorry, we ran out of tape.
Yeah, everybody wants to hear more. But tune in with us next week because it's really going off. So thank you everybody, and let's go break bad.